To no one's surprise, reports are coming out that Shannon Sharpe's career with Disney is over. For those who aren't aware, Disney owns pretty much everything.
I can tell you, I also spoke to co-chairman of Disney, the boss, Jimmy Pitaro, who made it very, very clear we are taking this matter very seriously. And we are looking into this very, very closely. And once we gather as many facts as we possibly can, we will go from there. And that is all he said. And I can mention his name because I received his permission to say that. I don't know what that means.
Shannon Sharpe just got hit with a smackdown so brutal, nobody saw it coming. 1 minute he's ESPN's star player, raking in the millions, flashing that smooth charm for the cameras like he owned the whole network. Then boom, out of nowhere, Disney and ESPN kicked him to the curb like he was nothing.
Immediate reaction from Disney is a reflection of the court of public opinion and Shannon fighting for his life with his brand image. And we wouldn't be in this place if he hadn't established such a strong tie to having an affinity to assert his sexual dominance and preference on everyone else. We know too much about him, and it's now coming back to bite.
His empire crashed and burned overnight, and it wasn't no regular messy fallout. This was a straight-up ambush.
Usually, companies use a morality clause when they're hiring somebody or considering someone who's potentially going to represent the company in a public way. The purpose of a morality clause is to protect the brand at the end of the day. Everything has to come back to the bottom line, and they have to be able to know that what they put out there is reflective of the brand and what we call in the industry brand safe. Disney is widely known for being very strict and not playing around when it comes to the morality clauses that they put into their talent.
We're talking old skeletons getting yanked out the closet, hush-hush settlements getting exposed, and audio leaks dropping like bombs. All at once. Folks inside ESPN started flipping on him fast, whispering behind closed doors, leaking dirt left and right. Disney? They panicked hard, scared their spotless image was about to take a hit. All those deals Shannon lined up, gone in a flash, like they never existed. His empire crumbled right under his feet, and the man wasn't even ready for the storm coming his way. But here's the wildest part. Instead of sitting back and taking the hit, Shannon's out here plotting. Quiet, heated, dangerous. Word on the street? He's cooking up a revenge play so dirty it could blow half the network sky high. His legacy's already going up in flames, and he might be the one striking the match. And let's be real for a second. People always felt like something about Shannon was off. Like, you couldn't put your finger on it. But it was there. Nobody wanted to say it out loud, though. Not about Shannon Sharpe. Big name, big fame, black excellence shining bright. Folks wanted to cheer for him. But now, it's clear as day. Shannon's got game on the field, no doubt. But off it, let's just say smart ain't always been his strongest play. Shannon gave over 30 years of his life to the game, and you can see it clear as day. The man reads football like it's tattooed straight on his soul. And when those cameras start rolling, oh, he flips that switch in a heartbeat. He knows how to put on a show, and now he's got revenge on his mind. Back when he ran the scene with Skip Bayless on Undisputed, Shannon was everywhere. His memes, they kept Black Twitter lit through the whole pandemic, no cap. So when that chapter ended and Stephen A. Smith swooped in to lock him down for First Take, man, it just clicked. That was TV gold right there. Shannon brought that down-home black uncle energy that had folks tuned in, cigar puffin', brown liquor in the glass, durag tight, the whole vibe on point. Yeah, some people threw shade, whispering that he was doing too much, calling it coon adjacent. But his charm was so strong, most folks just looked the other way and let him rock.
Perfect world. This equates to Jay-Z, where the case ultimately dropped and Shannon is allowed to continue on First Take and continue to thrive and shine. And not just that, and have an illustrious career in the podcast stratosphere doing Nightcap with Chad Ochocinco.
And once Club Shaw blew up in 2024, all thanks to that wild Cat Williams interview, Shannon was untouchable. That interview had the streets talking. Suddenly, everybody wanted a piece of Shannon. And word is, ESPN had a fat $100 million deal ready for him to sign. But just when it looked like he finally had it all, Shannon had to remind everybody how reckless he can be. Older dudes dating younger women? That's nothing new. Look at Diddy, almost 40 when he got with 19-year-old Cassie. And Eddie Murphy? Got enough kids to fill a team and his lady's 2 decades younger. Wild, right? But with Shannon, this one hit different. And it hit hard. We've all seen big age gaps before, but Shannon took it way past the line. The man's 54, out here messing with a 19-year-old. Even Leonardo DiCaprio would have been like, "Bro, you wildin'?"
Doing Club Shay Shay, and ultimately gets this $100 million deal that he was all over the news about to sign just a couple of days before this report came out. In my perfect world, he moves on. And somehow, some way, we find this all to be false.
And that wasn't even the worst of it. It got way messier. Word is, Shannon got caught on tape straight up telling the girl he'd choke her if she didn't keep quiet. Yeah, that kind of reckless talk? On tape? Whether she set him up or not, the fact he even said it shows he's got zero grip on himself. And believe it or not, that ain't even the craziest part. Now the streets are buzzing about some tape floating around, yeah, a whole sex tape. And this dude didn't even lock it down with an NDA. Like, how you a grown man in your 50s got millions stacked and still out here moving like you pledging some frat or something? And don't forget the Instagram mess. Just last year, Shannon's private life was blasted all over the internet. That should have been his wake-up call. Time to lawyer up, lock it all down, and make sure nobody even steps in the room without signing an NDA. But nah, Shannon kept slipping, thinking he was untouchable. And now, everything's crashing down. ESPN ? Disney? They ain't lifting a finger for him.
Like, that's the way things are about to go down, considering who Mr. Busby is and how emphatic his client is proclaiming that she is right and she's telling the truth. I don't know where this is going to go. I can't speak to anything else. I don't know who Shannon Sharpe's legal team.
It took less than 2 days for the whole thing to spiral out of control. Sure, ESPN's talking about him stepping back for personal matters, but let's stop playing. Insiders are saying straight up, this break was not his idea. Word on the street?
Is and what they're suggesting. I imagine that everything that has transpired has been at the behest of his lawyers, not just himself.
There's serious chatter that Shannon Sharpe's time at ESPN might be straight up done. A source close to the scene said he's still pulling up for First Take on Mondays and Tuesdays. The rest? Just scheduled days off. But fans? They weren't buying that for a second. The comments lit up fast, folks calling it like they see it. Yeah, he's getting dropped. See, ESPN had his back before when things got shaky. But this is a whole new level of messy. And let's keep it real. Guilty or not, Shannon's way too grown to keep falling into traps like this. Even Stephen A. Smith, the man who fought tooth and nail to get Shannon on the show, had to step up and admit the truth. He hit up Disney's top boss personally, trying to smooth it over. That's how deep in the mud this thing got. Shannon knew exactly what was happening. This wasn't no vacation. This was a slow, silent push out the door before the NFL season could even heat up.
It was all being orchestrated by Tony Busby, who has targeted Jay-Z. Tony Busby targets black men, and I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of sex tape that tries to make me look guilty and play into every stereotype you could possibly.
Disney wasn't protecting him. They were protecting that clean-cut brand. And then, boom, out of nowhere, the lawsuit dropped. And that was game over. A 21-year-old woman hit Shannon with a $50 million civil suit, accusing him of assault, battery, and emotional distress. Shannon swore up and down it was all consensual. His team jumped in, claiming it was just BSM gone sideways, and called it a setup. They started pointing fingers at Tony Busby, yeah, the same lawyer going at Diddy and Jay-Z. But Disney? They weren't trying to hear any of it. And ESPN? Folks inside started raising hell fast. Women at the network had been shown the door for way less, and now they were watching Shannon getting shielded like he was untouchable. It was clear as day. Dude had to go, And trust, that was just the start of the mess that was about to pour out. Once that lawsuit hit the spotlight, it was like pulling a thread. Everything else came spilling out. Shannon's closet, packed with drama, and the door finally flew open. Let's talk about his type for a second. Shannon's history of chasing after super young, racially ambiguous women wasn't some secret. Folks been clocking that. And nobody forgot how he used to throw shade at black women with class. That energy? It came back to bite him quick. Contracts gone, respect slipping. And the clearest example? The way he embarrassed Yvonne Orji on camera. Chad Ochocinco tried to set him up with her, a woman who's stunning, successful, and standing strong in her celibacy. But Shannon? He wasn't having it. He straight up acted like she was invisible and made it loud and clear she wasn't his vibe. She's exactly the kind of woman men stay claiming they pray for. But Shannon didn't just pass, he laughed. And not no soft chuckle. This was cold, loud, disrespectful. That moment told everybody what was really up. Shannon's ideal? It sure didn't look like a black woman holding her head high in dignity and faith. And once people online started piecing it all together, the pattern was too loud to ignore. Gabriela Zuniga, the woman suing Shannon for a wild $50 million, fits the pattern to a T. Young, white-passing, vulnerable, just his usual type. But this time, it wasn't just whispers and rumors. Gabriela came out swinging with serious claims. She said Shannon recorded her without permission, ignored safe words, and kept pushing way past the line, well, even when she was begging him to stop. And when she tried to bounce, Shannon allegedly tried to shut it down by tossing $10 million her way to keep quiet. But Gabriela wasn't having it. She turned him down and went public with the whole thing. Shannon called it a straight-up shakedown. But by the time he said a word, the damage was already done. And those leaked audio clips? They only made it messier. Shannon's team tried to fight back, dropping receipts, old texts where Gabriela supposedly asked for rough role play, even wild, abusive scenarios. But here's the real kicker. None of that matters. Doesn't matter if 99% of it was consensual, the second Gabriela said no, and he allegedly kept going? That's it. Done deal. Consent ain't a one-time thing. It's gotta stay solid the whole way. The moment you ignore a no, the whole situation flips into something dangerous. And here's where it gets worse. Gabriela wasn't the only shadow lurking in Shannon's past. More skeletons came stomping out. Reports started flying that Shannon had messy drama with a female production assistant back in his undisputed days with Skip Bayless. Word is, that whole situation ended in a quiet payout, hundreds of thousands to make it disappear. But that wasn't the only storm in Shannon's rearview. Let's talk about his ex, Michelle Evans. Back in 2010, she hit him with a restraining order, accusing him of assault during a breakup over cheating. She claimed Shannon forced her to her knees and crossed every line. And what went down after that? Shannon got quietly dropped from CBS Sports, just like that. Yeah, this ain't his first time in the hot seat. And now, it's like history's hitting rewind. Michelle even sat down with Tasha K, spilling tea about how Shannon was obsessed with control, showing a dark, twisted side behind closed doors that the public never saw. And if you thought those Club Shay Shay episodes with Monique and Cat Williams aged bad before, go run them back now. They hit way different. Monique was literally begging him on camera to stop chasing young girls and finally lock down a real grown woman who could love him right. And Cat, he was cracking jokes, but you could hear the warning in his voice, telling Shannon how dangerous it is for black men to mess with young white women. Now, those words hit like a brick. And let's not fool ourselves. Disney and ESPN didn't suddenly grow a conscience. They didn't cut Shannon loose out of principle. Nah, they moved because people inside, especially the women, started raising hell. The double standards were way too loud to ignore. Female staff had been fired for way less, and now folks were done staying quiet. While Shannon kept getting cover, even with heavy claims hanging over him, the panic behind the scenes got real. There was serious talk of a class action lawsuit brewing, the kind that blows up headlines and drags everybody into the mess. Disney wasn't about to sit around waiting for a full-on Me Too explosion on their watch. They saw the smoke and moved before the flames hit. Let's call it what it is. Disney don't care about loyalty. What they care about is sponsors, shareholders, and keeping that clean, family-friendly image locked down tight. The second Shannon turned into a liability, it was game over. Female ESPN staff started calling out the double standards, saying they got punished quick for way less, like just standing too close to a politician at an event. Meanwhile, Shannon stayed on the payroll with major accusations hanging over him. Disney saw that legal storm coming fast. They knew a discrimination lawsuit was creeping up, and they weren't sticking around to get burned. So they made their move, cut ties before the damage spread. Now they're out here claiming Shannon's just stepping away till football season. But let's be honest, that man ain't coming back. And even if he did, the stain on his image is permanent. Shannon had the shot to be bigger than Stephen A., to build a sports media empire of his own. Instead, he's out here scrambling trying to save face. And Stephen A. stuck right in the middle looking like the messy middleman. He vouched for Shannon, swore First Take would break records, and now he's just trying to keep his own name clean. The mask is off now, for real. The internet's drowning in receipts, and every single red flag folks tried to ignore, it's all glowing bright now. Shannon had people fooled. Funny, viral, relatable. But behind those memes and muscle tees was a man making reckless moves, burning bridges, and playing with fire like it couldn't touch him. But now, that fire finally caught up, and it's burning everything down. Shannon really thought he was untouchable, too loved, too polished, too big to fall. Thought the rules didn't apply to him. Thought he could chase 19-year-olds, mock black women's dignity, throw hush money around, and slap NDAs on everything to keep the skeletons buried. But karma? Karma don't take bribes. And now everything he built is crashing faster than he can post another thirst trap on Instagram. And if you think it's wild now, oh, buckle up. This ride ain't over. Word is, Gabriela Zuniga's team isn't finished. Not even close. There's talk of more audio, more texts, maybe even full-on videos ready to drop. And don't get it twisted, it's not just Shannon who might fall next. The next bombshell could take down more names, more careers, more reputations. So don't miss a second of this mess. Like, subscribe, drop a comment, and share this with somebody who needs the tea. You already know. We'll see you on the next one.